Good morning, everybody, and happy Moon Day. It's that time again. I am Debbie G, and welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. We are going to be live here with Claudia Thompson, the lunar astrologer, and you're going to find out everything that you'd ever want to know about what's going on for the moon this week. Y'all know who she is. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It has been a very busy time. I have been, I'm in finals right now, and I'm having a great experience, Claudia, because Joe's mom's out, so I'm getting to spend time with her and his aunt. So I've got a house full of people, and this is my second show of the morning already. I'm excited to know what the moon has in store for me this week. Can I tell you? Seriously.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Well, my week's been really good. Things coming in. People want me to speak and tell the forecast for the year and, different places in the country. So, old friends, that's a good thing, you know.
I freaking love that. I absolutely love that. And you'll be showing up for the 19th when we're doing our Symphony of Gratitude, our holiday special with Spirituality Gone Wild, and giving a very special forecast for the year there too. And I want to just mention to everybody before that I give this over to Claudia that if you want to book a reading, all you have to do is click on the link that's up in the description of this video. There's a link right there, and you can click and you can get a reading. And I highly encourage you to. Why not design your new year the way that you'd like to, based upon what the energies are flowing, how the energies are flowing. So, without further ado, take it away, Claudia.
Shout hallelujah. Come on, get happy. We're going to take all the blues away. Hey, hey, shout hallelujah. Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. How many of you believe in a judgment day? Big word for the Sagittarius cycle, judgment. Personally, I feel that Source looked out on everything, every one of us, and went, it's all good. So yeah, so this is one of the things we're being asked to really look at. And we all do this, right? We all go into and out of judgment all the time. Little things when we see someone, we're taught that this is a way to categorize and feel safe, but it's actually not. Closes the heart. I want you to remember that. I pulled a card for this eclipse new moon experience for all of us. And I love the Kuan Yin deck. So I'm just going to show this to you. Let's see. I hope you can see this. This is the Mother of Mercy, which I thought was so interesting. So this is the Kuan Yin Oracle deck, and I just love it because Kuan Yin is a moon goddess and one of the full moon goddesses, as well as the new moon. So she's from the East, of course, and this is number 19 in the deck, which is relevant too, because this eclipse that we just had, and I hope you're all doing well after that huge unleashing of energy. 19 is the number of, it's got 9, which is completion. And we know that because this eclipse was conjunct the South Node, that we are completing, things from the year, but also from many past karmic cycles. So this is a really beloved, wonderful opportunity for us. It's given to us in love to look at our beliefs and our judgments so that we can release all that stuff. So I'm going to begin with what this card means briefly, and then we'll go into a little meditation about it. Because mercy is a quality, mercy, compassion. We're being encouraged to apply all of this to ourselves and to everyone else in our lives. So just like a sun that shines brightly, casting a strong shadow, your growing spiritual power needs to be expressed with the awareness, I don't have much light on this, sorry, with the awareness that it will have an effect on others, even if you are not completely conscious of this effect. To create peace in the expression of your power, we call upon the Mother of Mercy. Mercy tempers great strength and power with kindness, gentleness, compassion, and caring. The divine Kuan Yin brings the quality of mercy to you now as a divine gift, encouraging you to cultivate mercy in your dealings with others and to receive it for yourself now as well. And so I'm going to ask you now to just Get comfortable with your eyes lightly closed. Be aware of your heart. Feel your feet on the floor. Allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears and just let the breath come and go. And now imagine a soft ivory light glowing in your heart. This is the vase of Kuan Yin containing nectar of mercy. Imagine you can follow the breath and perceive within the vase. In and out of your heart. You breathe in and out of your heart. Inside, there's the most beautiful liquid light. You become aware of a soft, pale hand holding the vase lightly, and this is the hand of Kuan Yin. She gently tips a few drops of this precious nectar into your heart now, chanting delicately, Om Mani Padme Hum. Allow for the healing of mercy to flow into your heart, cleansing it and allowing it to open like a lotus blossom. Quietly in your mind or gently aloud, repeat the following. By the grace of Kuan Yin and my own free will, I am receiving healing from your divine nectar of mercy now. So again, that is by the grace of Kuan Yin and my own free will, I am receiving healing from your divine nectar of mercy now. Thank you, beloved. When you are ready, become aware of your feet. Imagine yourself standing firmly on the ground, or take the time to actually do so if you want to stand up. Imagine the nectar of mercy flowing out of your hands and feet into your life. When you're ready, you might move your feet up and down or bounce gently on your feet until you feel ready to open your eyes. So does anyone out there want to tell me how that felt? If you followed along with that, if you enjoyed having a card pulled, let me know. You know, this new moon eclipse, hi there, all right. This new moon eclipse is a big upgrade, and we've been going through, for the past 2 years, this has been about a massive upgrade, awakening us and upgrading us to what it means for us to be human beings. And so I'd like to know if anybody has had an experience with the eclipse or experiences with this upgrade, either positive or negative, share them with me. Let me know in the chat what you've been experiencing, how this eclipse was for you. Remember, this eclipse, because it is such a big eclipse, being at 12 degrees, being united with the United States ascendant, which means that we have to be flexible. Our identity as a country, the identity that we put out into the world is shifting. And that's important because we all agreed to be part of that national identity. So we can't escape it. We can't escape the metamorphosis that's occurring. And it's actually, I think, pretty exciting. So the moon's in Capricorn today, and I'm going to go through where the moon's going to be this week and the phases we're going to go through. And then I'm going to go back to what the Sagittarius cycle is about. Not just this particular cycle, but some of the things that the Sagittarius cycle always brings to you, that this time of year always asks you to remember and to dance on, so to speak. So today, as I said, the moon is in Capricorn. And so that's the sign that takes care of business. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to begin the week because, but Capricorn also can be the Christed light within. So it reminds us to ignite that within ourselves and to be willing to see the Christ in everybody as we go about our business. And I know things are ramping up Christmas-wise, but we're still in the balsamic phase of the year, which means that we are in the depth of the dark leading up to the solstice. So tomorrow at 3:49 a.m., so when you wake up, the moon will be in Aquarius. And as you move through this kind of end of the year review, time to regenerate, to glean the wisdom, and wisdom is a big word for Sagittarius, the sage of the zodiac, so to speak. And so as we move through this into Aquarius, we look back at our vision. What was our vision for ourselves and the world and humanity as we move through 2021? What did we craft back in February? And how has that vision grown? And how has it shifted? So it's not aligned with our upgrade in consciousness anymore. And at that time, you'll also be in the crescent phase. So I don't know if you looked up last night, but there was that silvery sliver of promise as the whole cycle's promise begins to unfold. It was beautiful. I love it when that promise begins to show up. In the crescent phase, you gather your resources together. You set your intentions. You put 3 action steps under each one of them. Hopefully you calendared them so you know when you're going to begin them. Not overstressing yourself, not overextending. That's one of the things that can happen with Sagittarius and Jupiter, is taking on too much, not taking just one step at a time. Sagittarius rules the exhalation. So we are exhaling the year. And many times we find, especially those of you out there who do yoga, who have different disciplines that you do, we inhale information, experiences, etc., but to take the time to big deep exhale. And that's what we're doing right now with our year, with looking back at our experiences and gleaning the wisdom. So in the crescent phase, we gather our resources together, and it's the time in the planting cycle when the sprout puts its little head, the sprout that comes from the seed intentions that we planted deep in our consciousness, in trust and faith at the time of the new moon. Now we get a sprout above the ground. We begin to see what's developing, and we feel the roots, the old patterns of the past that can create a struggle away from that inertia. So both of these things, the gathering of resources, the moving forward, the seeing the promise of the light, but also those old habits and patterns. So sometimes I was born in the crescent phase. So those of you who were born in the crescent phase, you might have lived with this most of your life. Or if you're in a progressed crescent phase, and of course, if you get a reading, you'll know what phase you're in. It's kind of like the road that the car that your life drives on through life. So it's important to know. And it's a big piece of insight a lot of times when one finds that out. So with the crescent phase, you look at it as a gift. We're all whittlers. I used to think that I'd work with the things that the phases presented, and then I'd just be good to go. And I find that the thing, because it's cyclical, we whittle. We get opportunities with every new beginning, with every new moon, to end those patterns, to whittle away a little bit at those habits and patterns that prevent us from our highest good and greatest joy. So that's the gift of the crescent phase. And by the way, because we are still in the new moon phase today, if you have not set your intentions, if you have not written them down, created a picture, stepped into it, and allowed those feelings to energize and get you marching to the frequency of your intention, you do that today. Get that done today. Go into some ritual space, light a candle, get your journal out, because these are such important times, and each of you is such a pivotal light worker in this important time. You want to really play into these phases and maximize this portal, this big portal that just opened, that's going to imprint in your life in some area where you'll find 12 degrees of Sagittarius in your chart. That imprint is going to last for 19 years. And it means you can look back 19 years and see what happened then at this time. Approximately the same time of year it would have been, and in Sagittarius, in that area of your life. So when, for me, just as an example, I had begun all the planning and incorporating and doing everything I needed to do to start moon surfing. That was the first website on the internet about the moon. So it was about 19 years when it really took off, and we got the journals in order every month and doing all the, the system, putting the system out there. So you might find that as you look back, and you might not come up with it right away, but you might find that there's something like that. For me, it was in the house of communication. That's why I mentioned this. So that's the correlation. So something popped. This eclipse popped. New light, new information. It was a karmic eclipse. It dealt with letting go of the past. That was the caveat. You've got this brand new, bold, wonderful beginning that's going to expand your life. But what are the beliefs that get in the way? So the crescent phase can help you target that. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into Pisces. So one of the things I just want you to be aware of this week is with Sagittarius. Sagittarius can bring up not only judgment, but it's got that, it's got two distinct sides. And so we've got the judgmental, the self-righteousness, the beliefs that are intractable. And then you've got the other side, which is faith, hope, charity, opportunity. So we get to look at which way we're going in any given moment. This is the season to be jolly. And Sagittarius is connected with Jupiter, which is considered to be Jove. So by Jove. And we have the moon going into Pisces on Thursday, on the 9th. And there's only one void, of course, I'm even going to mention this week, and it's really brief. So this is good news. Most of them occur while you sleep, which is a perfect time for dreaming. And when the moon moves into Pisces on Thursday, that's about dreaming. So the intentions that you set at the new moon, as the moon moves into Pisces on Thursday, and then farther into Pisces on Friday, where it will come to unite with Neptune, we'll see if what we have set forth is possible. Are you overextended? Is it an illusion? Or have you set it on solid ground? And one of the things that we look at with Sagittarius is the symbol. The symbol for Sagittarius is a centaur, half horse, half human. So the horse, I think horses are so amazing because their legs look so spindly, but the muscles are just beyond understanding as they hold, sometimes tons of their physical body up and can run on those. It's just amazing. So it reminds you that your intentions must be grounded. They must be on solid ground and must be also aligned with your heart's desire. These were the things that the Taurus eclipse, the last full moon, brought up. So, the archer is the top, the human part, with that arrow pulling the bow back to truth seek, to let that arrow go in the direction of the truth. So this is one of the things that you're really looking at. And it's one of the things, Pisces and Neptune in Pisces now particularly, being in hard aspect to these glasses. You can tell they're driving me a little crazy because they're wacko. Anyway, so a square is a hard angle. So, it reminds you that it moves you forward. That's the good thing. But with Neptune now moving forward, there may be some fog, some confusion. The best use of it is to really watch your dreams, awake and asleep. Keep a dream journal if you haven't been, because this is a rare time with Neptune at home and it's sign of Pisces for the first time in over 160 years. So it's a big deal, whatever it's moving through your chart. But it can create rose-colored glasses and a veil of illusion. And we're going to see a lot of things coming up in the next 3 months that have not been reported, that we have not been able to see. So where we have all been under a veil of illusion, so to speak. On Friday, we move into the first quarter phase, out of the crescent into the first quarter phase for the weekend. And that's the time when we take action in the cycle. But we're reminded with the first quarter that it isn't just forward moving action, it's also taking action for sacred self-care. Sagittarius is fire, and it's bold and outgoing, and it wants to explore, like the archer with the arrows wants to explore and expand the horizons of your mind and your world. But also it's a great time to see how you're doing good self-care. If you're taking time to, get together, whether by Zoom or, in physical connection with your friends and loved ones, and reconnect with them and let them know how much they've meant to you on your journey this year and always. And then on Saturday, the moon will move into Aries. Now, that's another fire sign. And of course, Aries always is about the bold, pioneering energy of Aries. And we have Chiron and Eris moving through Aries. So it energizes these wounds that the society, that the world is experiencing around its ability to have its individual expression and individuality honored. So a lot of this is very volatile. And so one of the challenges, I know sometimes people who have Sagittarius rising can speak without a governor on their mouth. And so they just say something, and then they notice that someone else's eyebrows are flaming from the pure force. And so mercy, compassion, faith, hope, charity, realizing that it's not just, I hear so often from people, they and their belief system. Spiritual arrogance is something to really, really watch out for during this time, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, and that is spirit. So it continually asks you to remember your spirit having a human experience, and so is everybody else. We live in a 3D world of duality. It's part of the game we signed on for. But I'm finding that duality and polarity are very different. Duality implies being able to rise and see both sides of a situation. Polarity can be deeply entrenched and divisive. So just note where you might be on some things. We're all having our beliefs turned upside down. It's not just a few. And so every minute you have to look at what you give your energy to, because this is a lot of energy that's been unleashed. The only void, of course, moon that you might even want to recognize is from 11:40 a.m. to 1:49 p.m. on Saturday. And so at 1:49 p.m., the moon moves into Aries after having been in Pisces all day. So that gives you your layout for the week. When the moon moves into Aries, you might look at what you want to take action on during the holidays. And how the reset is going to manifest in your life. And we have something beginning on the 11th, and that's Venus conjunct Pluto. So this is big stuff. This is the first of 3 passes that we're going to be seeing. So just let me take a look at my notes here for a second, because I got a lot of good stuff for you today. And I hope you can all hear me. Am I speaking loudly enough? If there's somebody who can't hear me, raise your hand. Let me know. Okay? And please check in. Let me know who's out there. I'd love to know who's out there. This is all about connecting for me. So with Venus and Pluto uniting, this brings finances and government into our awareness. Pluto being the government and the old systems of power, and Venus having to do with how we attract what we need and what it is that we do need and value. So there's going to be a big reset in values going on. And that was kicked off with the lunar eclipse a little over 2 weeks ago now. So we're still doing that dance of adjustment. And we're going to have a big reset. All of us are going to have a big reset in our values in the coming year. That's one of the things that's up for us. It's one of the things that the universe is moving us toward in consciousness. So I want to know from you out there. Any feedback about this? Any questions about this? Is anybody out there? Yes. Gori Gabriela Davidasi, what a beautiful name, says yes. We Sagittarius need to be careful who we trust and where we speak. We love to speak our truth everywhere we are because it is who we are. And you're born under an Aquarius moon. Beautiful. So yeah, a lot of things being kicked off. Sagittarius sun. And so you have an interesting connection there with your fella. Thank you for sharing that. Aquarius sun and Aquarius moon. Just know that sometimes when someone has the same sun as your moon, they feel like they created you. And of course, we all do bring everybody into our lives. We have exactly the mirrors that we need at the time for our soul growth. But that sounds like a beautiful connection because, Sagittarius also is in a sextile with Aquarius, which can be challenging or it can be a promise. So that's lovely. Yeah. And I'm glad that you are aware of that Sagittarius, that's fiery Sagittarius nature. So I want to talk a little bit now. And like I said, are there any questions out there so far? Are you all hearing this? Is this valuable for you? I really want to know. Really want to know. Ronnie, lots of love to you. Thank you so much for joining in. And Hollis, I'm not sure of your sun or your moon. Well, the sun's an easy one because it moves every 30 days. So what's your birthday, Hollis? Let me know that. And I can tell you right now, unless you're right on the cusp, down to the minute. I can tell you what your sun sign is. This is one of the things that that makes lunar astrology and what I do a little bit different. And that is that the moon is my doorway. So I start out with where the moon was in the phase at birth and all of those things, the sun right up front in a reading. But if you would like to schedule a free chat with me, message me on Facebook. I have some openings for free chats, and I would love to talk with you and see how I might be of maximum service to you in harnessing the heavens in your life now and in the coming year.
I want to pop in really quick and let everybody know if you want to book a reading with Claudia, all you do is go up into the chat, or not the chat, but up into the description of this video, and the link will be there. I'll go ahead and drop it into the chat though too. And what I'm seeing here is John Fiore says, shedding sorrow, learning to simply be who I am without attachment to any title. I love that, John. Thank you, sweetheart. And hello and good morning to everybody that is here. If you have any questions, type them into the chat. And September 4th is Hollis's birthday.
All right. So Hollis, that's Virgo.
The Virgo.
So you are in what some call a serve or suffer lifetime. So the trick is to look at your passions, look at what spins your heart, what your heart's desires are, which we've had a lot of energy asking us to do that since that lunar eclipse at the full moon. And Virgo can be the hands-on healer. So that's pretty powerful. It has an ability to have a great attention to detail. The challenge is analysis paralysis, too much think. So I was talking to someone the other day about this. Mercury is the ruler. It co-rules Gemini and Virgo. But it is said that Vulcan is actually a ruler of Virgo. And Vulcan is the blacksmith of the gods who takes, etheric material and the passions of the heart and hammers them into something that's useful, that's practical for humankind. And that's the ability that you have. It's pretty wonderful. But getting those passions in order so that your work, and the challenge is workaholism. Virgos can be workaholics, so you have to be careful about that. And the moon tells you how to nurture yourself, how you can fill that well after being of so much wonderful service in the world. So that's a good mantra for you. I put forth my service to the, in the will of source as work, that is work as love made visible. So that's I have a Virgo rising. So that's always my prayer, that my work be love made visible. So I hope that gave you a big, a big head start on, because knowing your sun sign, that's real fundamental. It's your personality. It's your conscious expression. It's what you want and how you came to put your light forth in the world, and through your personality in this lifetime, how you came to shine. So thank you for that. And John, I just want to mention, trying to go back to what you said, but it really sparked a thought. And I was listening to Sadhguru the other day. I don't know how many of you listen to him, but he's got a sense of humor, and he's so wise. His wisdom his Eastern wisdom is so deep. And he was talking about AI. And he was talking about how that it's here. There are many factories, et cetera, that are operating with AI right now. When we think of AI, we tend to think of the duplicating humans aspect of it, but it's actually the tasks. So they can be little square boxes, they can be a little vacuum cleaner, but ultimately he was talking about, who are you? Who will you be when AI is doing all the things that we do for a living right now, as opposed to a life? And he was mentioning that human beings are the only species on the planet that are human beings, not human doings. And so, it's a really good place to take yourself. What would I be doing? Would I be just sitting and being a veg? Or what are all those things that keep getting put on the back burner or to the side, or you fit in, that you would really explore? And that's what the Sagittarius cycle asks. It asks you to explore and expand the horizons of your mind and your world. And if you can't travel right now, etc., you can do it from your armchair. How do you do that? And do you allow your mind to run willy-nilly, or are you focused? I can tell you that with what we've got coming down the pike in the next 3 months, you need to have your default tools for spiritual connection, for daily, the things that put you on track daily in order, because these are going to be your default settings, so to speak. And there's going to be a lot, you know, the whole game's going to ramp up, so to speak. So, you know, we're in a time of massive reset. So eclipses open portals, they open doorways. And over the next 30, 60, 90 days, we'll get a hit on the beliefs that we have bought into. And we all have them. You know, some of them, it might be that you need a job. You know, I mean, it can be a variety of things. You're welcome, Hollis. So glad to be of service to you. So as we move into this time, beingness is really important, and that's why the heart drop is important. Being present, just being in the present moment and knowing that you're okay, that you have what you need, that you are what you need. So when we look at health, and to me, I always look at health up front with every lunation, with every sign of the zodiac, because it makes everything else possible. And it's such a big focus right now. I can't get these. I apologize for being crooked here. So I am an Aquarius, so it's always a little weird in my world, right? But anyway, so health. Sagittarius rules the hips and thighs. And the Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, rules the liver, the gallbladder, and all the organs of assimilation. I'm looking at myself cockeyed here. Anyway, so it's a great time to do a liver cleanse. And actually, Debbie mentioned a program that she has done that she really likes. So maybe she'll tell us what that is again. But it's a great time to do a liver cleanse. Also, the liver is the helmsman for the whole digestive system. And it is also the helmsman is the place where our emotions get held. So when you do a liver cleanse, it really clears the decks of anger, of all sorts of emotions that have been held. And of course, when we come up with all of these beliefs that we've bought into from the time we were children, and maybe even in past lives, then we end up with, with a clogged liver. So, that makes it just super, super important to pay attention to your liver. After all, it contains the word live. That's no accident. Just as belief contains the word lie, liver contains the word live. And so the gallbladder, the processes of elimination of growth and assimilation. Sagittarius rules the processes of growth and assimilation. So you also have to watch out for overindulgence and overextension, trying to do too many things, trying to have too many fires going at one time, which can cause a conflagration, right? It can burn the house down. So focusing can be challenging, but focusing on what you need to do now and want to do now for your health through the holidays be really good. And it's a great time to do a cleanse or to do a bit of a fast before the holidays ramp up, so that you feel like you have more control, more mastery regarding your habits. And it's not just the food that you eat, it's how you feed yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So you look at all those levels when you're looking at a healthy regimen. So I mentioned also that Sagittarius rules the exhalation. So one of the things that immediately calms the parasympathetic nervous system is a 4-count breath inhalation and an 8 breath count exhalation. It immediately calms the parasympathetic nervous system. So let's try that together now, and just breathe into the count of 4. Feeling your belly move, feeling it go all the way up, and then exhale to the count of 8. So your exhalation is twice as long as your inhalation. So let's do that again. I do that several times a day. It just calms the parasympathetic nervous system. And if you combine that with a drop into your heart. It's really powerful. It really brings you present right away. And this is mutable energy. Mutable means changeable. We are asked to be flexible and adaptable at this time like never before. We're continually adapting to new paradigms and looking for what the new paradigms are going to be that are rooted as much in the divine feminine as the divine masculine. Are those two things in balance in your life? What do they mean to you? It's a good question to ask. And what did you come up with during this new moon time around possibility? So with Venus and Pluto coming together in relationship in Sagittarius, we look at where we are willing to put the time in. Sagittarius is the adventure, it's the explorer. It wants to expand its horizons, but also it wants to have a home base. That's that horse part of the centaur, right? Someone, a friend, connections, a sacred space to come home to. So relationships are important. And oftentimes the challenge is that overextension, too much energy given in too many places and not enough focus to create that loving relationship you want. So with Venus conjunct Pluto, it's the power of those loving relationships, and it has you looking at what that means. Are you in power struggles, or are you approaching everything with an open heart? So, Sagittarius brings the holidays, and I think all of us want wonderful, loving relationships. We want to renew them. We want to have them in our lives during the holidays. So who do we need to be? Who are we as that center? What's in our quiver of arrows that we're willing to shoot out into our atmosphere and our environment to magnetize those wonderful relationships? You attract what you are. So who is that in Sagittarius? Are you the know-it-all? Are you self-righteous? Are you judgmental? Are you nitpicky about your mate and your connections and your friends? Or are you open-hearted? Because Sagittarius can have a really big heart. Again, faith, hope, and charity. And when you look at business, and this is really interesting, Sagittarius is the energy of the promoter. So it's a really good time as we wind down, because we're in the balsamic phase of the year. As we wind down, how will we promote ourselves or our message or our vision? By living it and also getting it out there, maybe through technology at this time, probably through technology. And just when you meet people, how will you vibrate with that message? We're in a time, this whole year's been about communication, the past 18 months. The full moon on the 18th of December, right before the solstice, 3 days before the solstice, is going to be in Gemini. And it's going to renew the things that we set forth at the time of that new moon solar eclipse in June. So have you learned new things technologically? Because Sagittarius is about higher education, religion, philosophy. What's the religion in your life? And I'm not just talking about church religion, but the things that you put forth your energy toward, your interests that are of extreme importance. What are those things? Because that comes back to values and beliefs. And we're going to keep on. This is like an ocean that keeps roiling, making the pitch rise as we find out more and more and more about the house that's falling now, and the beliefs that they've been built on, and how that foundation is not just going to be shored up, it's going to decay and dissolve in this reset. So it's really important that we're all willing to do our own work and look at those beliefs. Any questions? Anybody's mind buzzing out there? So there is work to be done in the dark before the dawn. That's a quote I want you to remember. There is work to be done in the dark before the dawn. We are coming to the end of our year, of our natural year. We're in the balsamic phase. And that's the phase where you glean the wisdom and you look at all the insights that you've gained throughout the year. What was your plan? How do you want to alter that? Do you even want to be doing the same thing? Do you want to set a plan that starts to move you toward your own massive reset? How are you going to do that? What does that look like? So what did you come up with that was possible? You know, I asked in the last show, I said that a good question to ask yourself was, what's possible? What's possible that you haven't thought of yet? What's possible that you can't even imagine? And just opening to that. And I wonder if any of you have had any realizations kind of regarding that, or anything that you supported as far as possibilities go that you want to put your energy toward. So, you know, one of the things that you can do under this new moon, since we're still in the new moon phase and we're in Capricorn, is you can check the foundation and your utilization of resources throughout this year. You know, if your plan didn't take off, maybe the foundation wasn't secure, or maybe it's the materials on spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical levels weren't what's needed to make a really secure foundation. So when the moon moves into Aquarius, you can look at choosing your priorities and your goals and your allies. Who's your tribe? Who's your community? Are you strengthening your connection with them? And then when it's in Pisces, it really underscores the tying up the old loose ends to make space for the new and to watch your dreams, which I mentioned. So yeah, you're getting a glimpse of the ways to reorient yourself. You've been getting glimpses, but now that's ramped up. How are you going to reorient yourself in your life? And I run into people who are doing amazing things. The way that they've just broken away from homeschooling their children to walking away and starting new businesses that are more heart-centered, that are more aligned with the way they really want to live. You know, it's all about values, right? And Taurus, I'm going to continue to have Uranus in Taurus until 2026. And Taurus is what I need to be, who I am, my values, recognizing that if I'm enough, I have enough, and we are all enough. So Taurus reminds us to be a divine appreciator. A divine appreciator. I love that phrase. I promise I'll have these glasses fixed by the next time I see you. So being a divine appreciator, I love that phrase. Taurus always reminds you to get out in nature. I find it so easy to be a divine appreciator when I'm in nature. But to bless everything, to bless the bed that you sleep in, to be grateful for that. To bless your furniture, your yard, all the things, all the natural things around you. To bless your dishes as you do them. You know, to just start to be as present in gratitude as you possibly can be. So your earth connection, you know, how do you connect to the earth every day? This is one of the things that we were asked at the time of this new moon to really look at including, and that is an intention around the new earth. What does that look like? What does that mean for you, the new earth? And there's the new earth, and then there's the new world. And we have to have the new earth going on where we are making sure that we have an environment that we are taking care of, that we are related to, that we have a connection to, before the new world that we envision can truly come to be. So they're inextricably linked. Sagittarius rules the hips and thighs. I mentioned that. So are you walking? I don't know how cold it is where some of you are. I know in California it's been incredibly warm. Wonderful weather for walking. But I think about the way that models walk. You know, the way they walk on the runway, they lift their leg up from the hip and put it down. You know, it's a very definite kind of almost stomping sometimes. But the thing is, they're lifting the leg from the hip. And sometimes people walk this way. Their hips are locked up. So Sagittarius encourages you not to walk looking at where you're going with a goal, but to just be in your body, to really be in an awareness of your hips and your thighs and lift your leg up from the hip. Because when you walk, You are telling your body that you have the ability, the willingness to move forward and to have your life move forward. So there's so many other things that go on when we walk. And it's very, very important. Even if I have a friend who's in a very cold climate, and she goes to the mall and walks. She goes to Home Depot and walks, puts on a good pair of shoes and walks for a while. So that's something that you can do too. There's, we need to be physically active, and the thighs are the biggest bone in the body. So those muscles need to be kept strong. So June 25th is Gemini. Wait a minute, is Gemini, is that Cancer? It's Cancer. So the time doesn't matter. I'm not looking, I look up people's charts when I do a reading, and because there's so much to look at that, the time you were born determines, it gives you the best accuracy, but it's not absolutely essential. And, I ask people, if you are an American, then you have your birth certificate available. It's available at in the county of your birth, state and county of your birth. And you can write them, and they will send you one lickety split. So I suggest that if you don't know the time you were born, before you have a reading, that you do that. I have read for people all over the world, and sometimes they are very grateful to know the day they were born. And in that case, it's a different kind of reading. There are still the interactions between the planets, and that's what really sets the stage. The dynamics within you, that universe within you when you were born. So, June 21st is the summer solstice, so you are a moon child. You are a moon child, and you were born in Africa. Wow, wonderful. So, so that would be interesting. And I don't know if you have your time available, but as I said, if you don't, then I just look at it differently. It's still insights, information. And the moon, by the way, folks, the moon moves through a sign every 2.5 days. So it's the fastest moving orb, but still it's got a 2.5 day movement time through a sign. So if you know the day you're born, and unless you're right on the cusp, and then I ask questions and we can figure it out from there, we're going to know the placement of the planets just fine, and their interactions with each other. And as I said, that's really what's important. In the West, we use a wheel. And that reminds me of something else I wanted to mention today. And that's wreaths. It's a wonderful time to put that symbol on your door or in your house. The reason being, it's a circle. So the wreath is about the circle of life, and the circle of life the circle of this year that you've gone through. It also is evergreen. So, we've kind of stopped in a lot of cases, make wreaths out of all kinds of things. But the symbol and the reason it was evergreen is because of the foreverness of the circle of life, and celebrating that. So, I was thinking about that, and I thought, I think I'm going to, get a wreath of some kind this year, and put that up on my gate, because I love that evergreen being forever, the circle of life that goes round and round and round forever. And with every lunar cycle, we get another chance, right? So as you move through this week, remember to be looking at your beliefs. Know that there may be some angles and aspects of irritability, confrontation, fiery. Remember, and then remember that fire is spirit. You need fire. We need fire in our lives. The sun is our life-giving force, right? The moon has no light of its own. It needs the sun. So we want to shine like the sun, but we don't want to burn people up and burn our bridges. And I heard something the other day. A friend sent me an interview with a fella who has something called Health Freedom, and he's opening these different organizations in all the states, and then it'll go probably global. But I loved his philosophy, because when they asked him what he was about, he said, we offer the information of what's really happening to everyone, what the bigger picture is, and what's really happening health-wise. And he said, so the fella said, well, are you only talking to anti-vaxxers? What do who you're talking to? He said, no. He said, the word that describes our MO is compassion. So we are open to everyone. We want an ongoing dialogue between everyone rather than this plan to divide everybody. And he said, so I just love that, because I want you all, as you move through your week, to remember that, to have compassion for yourself in this time of reset, because this is massive and it really asks you to go down to your core beliefs and look at where the things that are no longer true for you. You know, one of the bywords of Aquarius is truth. And so we are finding out the truth of what it means to be human, and what we care about and what we value and how much we live in fear. And are we being hoodwinked, or are we programming ourselves with the most positive, light-filled experiences and thoughts and feelings that we can have? So are you out there? Any questions? Any comments from anyone? I'd love to hear. We're just about to wrap up.
We are, and I don't see any, and I don't, oh, well, here we go. Here's a question. Lisa wants to know, she was born on a Saturday. What would be the best way to know my rising? And Paula says great info. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
Paula, beloved Paula, very special person to me. Yeah. So rising sign wise, the rising sign is determined by the time of birth. And so if you want to know your rising sign, and I don't know if this was the person that said that they didn't know their time of birth. Now,
that was correct. That was correct. The person who didn't know the time.
When the time of birth is not known, oftentimes what one does is we put the sun on the ascendant. And that's called a heliocentric chart. And we work from there. And oftentimes that can work beautifully. But as I said, I also look much more deeply into the transits, into the pre-birth eclipses, which have to do with your soul's purpose, what you came to learn and what you came to give, which is so revelatory. You know, what's my soul's purpose? And it's not a particular career, but it's that spiritual theme of what all these past lives that you've been given that have brought you to this level where you have something wonderful to share. And if any of you are wondering, what the heck is that? You know, like I said, schedule a free chat with me. Message me on Moon Powered Astrology on Facebook and schedule a free chat. And then we'll find out. And then we can, you know, or if you'd like to book a reading, lickety split, you've got the link. But if you want to talk to me beforehand and find out what you might learn and how it might be useful, please, connect with me. And so getting that birth certificate, if you want to know your exact ascendant, that becomes really relevant. And as I said, I don't know, since you're from Africa, I don't know about the recordings where you were born. Sometimes, even in the United States, sometimes my dad actually was born in Kentucky, and the town literally burned down. We had, I've had to reconstruct his chart to understand what his rising sign was. And there's a way you can do that by looking at events. So you can get a very insightful, full reading of guidance with or without that. But the ascendant is, in Western astrology, the most important point in the chart, because it starts the game. It lands things more specifically in the area of your life that's being impacted. And we can talk more about that. If you want to give me schedule a chat, we can talk more about that.
I love that. So anybody, if you want to schedule a chat, the link to book a reading is right there in the chat. And then also floating across the screen, this is where you can find Claudia's Facebook page. And I love this. So Lisa says, definitely will do. Mother just celebrated 80th and she has 6 children. That's beautiful.
Wow. Congratulations.
That's a lot of kids. I love that.
Yeah. She's entering her 9th decade.
Well, we are coming to the end of this show and look forward to next Monday, next Moon Day. What do we have in store next week?
Well, next week, we're going to be working with the Venus conjunct Pluto. So I'll be talking more about that. We'll be building up to a full moon in Gemini on the 19th. And so I'll be talking a bit about that, because we're moving into the solstice. So we are in the depth of the dark, babies out there, the depth of the dark. So remember, if you feel like napping, do it. There's a reason for that. Be a good bear, hibernate.
I love that. I was a good bear yesterday.
Good. And take the time. Take the time to look back over. This is the time when you look back over your whole year. So you need some time to do this, to reflect, to look at what you're releasing, what's not going to make fertile soil for your next planting at the solstice. Now, most of the time in our heads, we think, okay, fiscal year begins January 1st, so I'm not having anything happen. But we've got some aspects happening on the 24th of December. I mean, we've got stuff going on all month, but the actual new year is the solstice. It's when the light begins to grow again. We have the longest night, and then we have the light beginning to grow. So, Debbie's planning something wonderful so that you can all work into that energy and harness that light. And also, it's a time of allowing. Exhale. Take a breath in, but then let your exhale be even longer, because this is the time of the year when the exhalation and the dark are long. And this is when and where the magic occurs.
I love it. So, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. And we will see you next week at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to be jumping into more fun about the moon and how that you can use the energy in your life. Remember, book a reading. It's right there in the chat. Or you can simply go to Claudia's page and you can schedule a free discussion, if you will.
A cosmic chat, so to speak.
Cosmic chat. So, all right, everybody, take care. Bye.